Remember when making $100,000 meant you'd made it? You could buy a home, raise a family, take vacations, and still save for retirement. But today, in many cities, $100K feels average. In high-cost living areas, it can barely cover the basics, and the numbers prove it. According to a 2023 Smart Asset Analysis, $100K in cities like San Francisco, New York, and Honolulu leaves you with less than $40,000 in take-home pay after taxes and the cost of living adjustments. Hi friends, welcome back. I'm Diane. I've spent the last 15 years in finance and consulting, advising everyone from the World Bank to private equity firms to working families. And as a mom of two, I know firsthand what it's like to watch the cost of living outpace your income. And here's the thing, it's not just how much you earn, it's how far it goes and what you can do with it. Now, if you're interested in work optional life or to retire early, you'll need more than just a high salary. You'll need a system. So in this video, we'll unpack three things. First, the hidden forces making $100,000 worth less than it used to. Second, the ripple effects that this has on your retirement timeline. And three, how to adjust your plan now so you're not working decades longer than you used to. So grab your coffee and let's dive in. So why does $100K feel smaller today? The biggest culprit? Inflation, especially when essential costs rise faster than wages. Inflation isn't just the slow creep in prices you notice at the grocery store. It's a full-on erosion of purchasing power. Back in the 1990s, $100K had the same buying power as roughly $240,000 today. That's a huge difference. But wages haven't kept up pace. The US household income in 1990 was about $52,000. Adjusted for today's dollar, that's around $115,000, which means for many, income growth has actually lagged behind inflation. And when you compare this to major expense categories, the gap is even more obvious. Housing. The US home price in the United States has surged over 160% since 1990, with even sharper increases in coastal markets. Healthcare. The average annual premium for family coverage is now over $23,000, more than double what it was in 2000. Out-of-pocket expenses have also risen, eating into take-home pay. Education. Public university tuition has increased over 200% since 1988, making student loan debt a long-term budget item for many households. What's different today is that these increases aren't happening in isolation. They're compounding. So if your income is growing 3% a year, but your biggest expenses are rising at 5 to 7%, you're losing ground every year. We don't feel the change all at once. It sneaks up on us. You can start earning more, but somehow your saving account doesn't grow as fast as your responsibilities. Childcare, healthcare, rent, groceries, everything quietly eats away at your margin. The truth is, most of us aren't bad with money. We're just playing a game where the rules keep changing. So if it feels like you're doing everything right, but not getting ahead, you're not imagining it. The math backs you up. And now here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. Earning $100,000 means you're not taking $100,000 to spend. Federal taxes alone can take 22% for middle income earners. And if you live in a high tax state like California or New York, you could lose another 9 to 13%. Then factor in retirement savings. Fidelity recommends putting aside about 15% of your income for retirement. On $100K, that's $15,000 a year. Healthcare premiums. The average worker contribution for family coverage is over $6,500 per year. And then once you start thinking about other payroll deductions, things like Social Security, Medicare, and possibly disability or life insurance, and you add that all up, many households basically are left with $55,000 to $60,000 for everything else: housing, groceries, childcare, transportation, and more. And here's the kicker. When budgets are tight, the first thing people often do is to scale back on retirement contributions, thinking, I'll catch up later. But later rarely comes without intentional action. And this pressure isn't about numbers, it's about expectations. A lot of middle income earners are caught in what I call the sandwich squeeze. You're supporting kids, maybe aging parents, paying off student loans, all while trying to save for your own future. It's no wonder that the American Psychology Association found that nearly 70% of adults cite money as their biggest source of stress. And that stress compounds. When money feels tight, it affects every decision, from your career moves to your relationships. So why does this matter for your retirement plan? If $100K feels tight now, imagine how small it will feel in 20 to 30 years. This is where so many people go wrong, and they set a fixed magic number for income or savings, assuming it will still work decades from now. But Inflation, and especially lifestyle inflation, which means you need to think in terms of future dollars, not just today's dollars. So let's say you decide you need $80,000 a year in retirement based on your current expenses. At a modest 3% annual inflation rate, that's over $193,000 a year in 30 years, just to maintain the same standard of living. And that's a conservative estimate. Healthcare costs alone are expected to rise much faster. From 2000 to 2020, healthcare costs increased at nearly 4.5% annually, which means by the time you hit retirement, your medical expenses could easily be double or triple what they are today. Now, planning without adjusting for any of these realities is like navigating a decade-old map. You might have the right destination in mind, but the path you're following doesn't match the current terrain. And if you're hitting a little too close to home, if you're realizing you might be relying on outdated numbers on your retirement or your work optional life, this is exactly why I'm offering free clarity calls in this community. We'll figure out your freedom number, look at where you are now, and create a plan to close the gap. It's personal, it's practical, and it's designed for your life. If you're interested, link is in the description box below. So how do you protect your retirement plan in a world where 100K is no longer the safety net it used to be? Here are a couple big moves you can take. First, increase your savings rate with every raise you get. If you get a 4% raise, commit to at least half of it to savings or investment before it hits your checking account. This is one of the easiest ways to outpace lifestyle creep and keep your financial goals moving forward without feeling a big pinch in your day-to-day. Invest in assets that historically outpace inflation. The S&P 500 has returned about 10% on average since 1950. These types of assets can help your wealth grow faster than expenses, preserving your buying power. Next is to revisit your retirement work optional target every few years. Life changes, costs change, and markets change. Treat your retirement plan, your work optional plan, like a GPS. You wouldn't drive for hours without checking if you're still on track. Adjust for inflation, evolving expenses, and shifts in your goal. Again, feel free to book a one-on-one free call with me in the description link in the box below. We'll figure out your freedom number, look at where you are now, and create a plan to close the gap. And here's something most people don't realize. Building wealth isn't just about earning more. It's about buying back your time freedom. When you start aligning your money with your values, whether that's more time with family, flexible work, or retiring early, every financial decision becomes easier. Because the real goal isn't just to make 100,000 feel like 200,000. It's to make your money feel purposeful. That's how you build a retirement plan that isn't just about surviving later, it's about living better now. So the goal isn't to hit some specific number. It's to build a portfolio of assets that keep growing in real terms, giving us the freedom to retire or go work optional, to be on our own schedule and our own terms. So here's the bottom line. 100K used to mean you'd arrive. Today, it's just a starting point. If you want to make work optional or retire on your terms, you need a plan that works with today's numbers, not the ones from 30 years ago. If you're ready to see what that plan looks like for you, you can book a free call with me in the description link in the box below. Friends, thanks so much for watching and see you in the next one.